What is going on, everyone? And in this video, I'll be giving you my UFC 270 main card predictions for the upcoming event taking place January 22nd, 2022. Coming off an event where I went half and half, didn't really do well. Main event, I kind of jinxed myself. I actually ended up like in the pick'em thing, picking Calvin Kattar. And then obviously I didn't pick Calvin Kattar because I had Giga Chikadze winning. So I probably just jinxed myself doing that. I didn't even realize it until after the fact. So that was a big idiot thing. But either way, great night of fights. Obviously Calvin Kattar breaking him down, just having success, being dominant, being an aggressive fighter. And Chikadze, man, I mean, he was in there too as well, though. He landed really good shots. He just wasn't able to hang 5 rounds, getting that kind of pressure. But man, what a survivor, though. I mean, he survived. He didn't get absolutely finished or anything like that, but he definitely got his ass beat, man. And Calvin Kattar, a tough guy to fight because he's just gonna keep coming. You really got to kill him. You really got to beat the shit out of him like Max Holloway did. So, really good event. Looking forward to this pay-per-view. Now, I will say with this pay-per-view, I didn't even research really this first fight. At least when I started researching the main card, just because I don't even think this was on the main card, and some of these fights just were getting thrown around. Obviously, you had that, which was the Michel Pieta versus Andre Fialho. I mean, that fight didn't even, that wasn't even on this card. It was on a fight night, and I swear with the COVID stuff and all this other stuff, I mean, I remember I used to complain when there was weight cut issues and, one fight would fall off, but now it's just like this fight's getting put over here, and then this fight's getting moved to the other. And then COVID, it's just crazy. So it's unfortunate. Hopefully we can get back to the norm one day and we can actually have a card that stays together. But either way, it'll be, I think, a solid night of fights. At least a solid pay-per-view. Sucks that the pay-per-view cost went up $5. I don't know. Inflation, right? I guess. I don't know. A lot of shit's going to start going up. But that's for another day. So anyways, in the main card, on the first fight, we have Rodolfo Vieira versus Wellington, the Prodigy Turman. Obviously, Vieira coming in 8-1, and then Wellington Turman coming in with 17-5 record. And for this fight, Vieira, 100% takedown defense. Both guys have 100%. Turman has 100% takedown defense. The grappling, I would say, probably is going to go to Vieira, though. He's got 5.77 takedowns average per 15 minutes, as opposed to Turman's 2.22. So you would obviously look for Turman to probably want to defend some of those takedowns, see what he can do. Now, the only thing I will say, Turman's coming off a split decision win against Sam Alvey. Can't be coming off. I personally don't think you can be coming off split decision wins over Sam Alvey at this point. Lost to Bruno Silva via KO. Lost to Andrew Sanchez, which he's not known for knocking people out via KO. Beat Marcus Perez by decision, then lost to Carl Robinson. Not to 2-3 in the UFC. Not really a good record. Concerning to me still that he got knocked out by Andrew Sanchez, and then he got a split decision victory over Sam Alvey. Now for Rodolfo Vieira, obviously ground game, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, gold medals. World championship gold medals. He's definitely a grappler. His only loss coming against Anthony Hernandez via submission in February 13th of 2021. Every other win that he has in the UFC is by a submission, rear naked choke, arm triangle, TKO way back in ACB 82 in March of 2018 against Alexander Newfang. But other than that, he's submitting the shit out of guys, and he's got a long, extensive grappling record. Beat Benson Henderson. Like, this shit goes. He's definitely fought a lot of guys, so not too worried about his grappling, and I do think his grappling will be the better in this one. And obviously he has to watch out for like the striking, but this dude's gonna try to go for a takedown. I think he's gonna try to go for a submission, and I mean, Turman is just not. He just doesn't, give me that vibe that like he's gonna destroy him and defend all the takedowns, and maybe even gets caught on the feet or something. So he's kind of sketch. I can't go with Turman. I got to go with the guy that's gonna be going for those submissions. The extensive grappling game. So I'm going to go Rodolfo Vieira to defeat the prodigy Wellington Turman. I'll say I'm going to win by submission in round number one. And then move on into the next fight, the second fight on the main card. We have Cody the Spartan Stamen taking on Said Nurmagomedov. 19-4-1 for Cody Stamen, 14-2 for Said Nurmagomedov. Cody Stamen, really good power, big power. Diversity of strikes again is an issue just because he has big power and he goes for like some winging hooks and stuff, but that's pretty much like kind of all he does. He doesn't really mix in too much of a variety of like going to the body, mixing a lot of kicks or anything like that. He kind of just wings a lot of his punches. He obviously has a strong wrestling game. Probably not don't think Stamen has to worry about getting taken down by Nurmagomedov in this one. I do think Nurmagomedov has to worry about getting taken down, but I do think he has a good takedown defense. So that is a good thing to have against someone like Stamen, where I believe the majority of his game is probably going to be trying to set up those takedowns, or at least having control against the fence. 71% takedown defense for Said Nurmagomedov. So I think it's a pretty good thing for Said. Said's more of a flashy kind of guy. He's going to mix in a lot of these unorthodox strikes. He's going to, try to go for the spinning elbow out of nowhere. My only concern with some of that stuff, though, is like if he does go for that throws him off, any strike that throws him off balance and he's spinning around, Stamen could try to take advantage of that. If he catches him off balance, takes him down. But that being said, I don't think Stamen's going to be one of these guys that's like working for the submission on Said. And I do think Nurmagomedov, granted, he might not be the one getting a takedown, but on the floor, I believe he can reverse. We saw that in his last fight against, who was it? Oh, no, we saw it against Raoni Barcelos in that fight, which he lost via unanimous decision. But he did have some moments where he was able to get back up. It's very hard to take this guy down. Pretty good takedown defense. And even if you do take him down, he's popping back up, trying to find a way to switch the position. So I think overall, I see Said Nurmagomedov just landing more variety of strikes, possibly more dangerous strikes. I'm a little bit concerned if he gets held down or he gets held against the fence. But I do think Nurmagomedov's going to work. And I think just overall, if he can stay alive and not just get stuck on the bottom, that he's going to light up Stamen over the course. He has to be careful early on, I think, for those big hooks. But I guess you could say at all times. But Stamen is going to start tired just a little bit, especially if he's throwing everything into his shots. So I like Said Nurmagomedov in this one. These guys, I think, they were supposed to fight December 20th of 2020. So they were supposed to fight before, but, Cody Stamen had a lot of his fights canceled. He's coming off 2 losses against 2 tough bantamweights, Merab Dvalishvili and Jimmy Rivera, both unanimous decision losses. But he just doesn't do enough, right? So I feel like he's not the active fighter, and he's looking for one big shot or he's looking to take down. So I think Said Nurmagomedov wins this one. I'm going to take him, just kind of outpoint him, stay up on his feet. If he gets taken down, get back up, switch the position. So I'm going to go Said Nurmagomedov to defeat Cody the Spartan Stamen. I'm taking him to win by a decision. And then move on into the next fight. We have Michel Piera, Demolidor, Michel Piera Lima taking on Andre Filaho. 26-11, 2-0 contest from Michel Piera, and then 14-3, 1-0 contest for Andre Filaho. Brazil versus Portugal. Piera, obviously, he's coming into this fight. He's a wild man, right? But I will say, he's probably cleaned it up a little bit. I would probably, I think he's probably working on that. I kind of saw it in his last fight against Nico Price, which he won via unanimous decision. Did get a little wild at the end. And Piera's cardio can definitely go out the window when he starts getting crazy and starts just like flopping around and just swinging shots. But he's always dangerous, right? He's got a really strong, this dude's really big for 170. And you also have to look at his submission skills and his grappling skills. And he's a strong ass dude. So I don't think, again, Piera's going to be the one getting taken down in this fight. I don't think he's really going to have to worry about that. Fialho definitely does have a grappling game, but it's not, I don't think he's going to be like diving in for takedowns and doing all that kind of stuff. I think Piera, if anyone's going to be the one grappling. But for Andre Fialho, he definitely is one of these guys where if you watch some of his fights, he's fought a couple of people. He knocked out James Vick, which, James Vick is just shot, so I don't really take too much into that. But he's definitely one of, if you look at some of his previous fights, his striking is pretty solid. He doesn't get wild with it. He's not winging shots. He's actually trying to mix it up, go to the body. pretty cautious, pretty conservative. He's not a wild man at all. And he hangs in there and he tries to walk you down and he just tries to land good punches, good hooks. You saw that against when he fought James Vick. In his last fight, he defeated Stefan Sekulic via some KO TKO in round number 1. And then before that, he beat Lincoln Puig via round 1 KO TKO. But I would say he's probably far more the more conservative fighter in this fight than obviously Pieta is. So, and I think overall his cardio is going to be a little bit better just because he's not winging shots and throwing crazy stuff. He's just going to stand there. Now, the fight is on short notice, so when you have fights like that, you really don't know what's going to happen, right? He hasn't been preparing to fight Michel Pieta, and, Pieta hasn't been preparing to fight him. So these kind of fights can get really wild. They can look really sloppy, or one guy can just get his ass beat because he just wasn't ready or whatever. So, yeah, it's a little sketch. I think it's always going to be sketch. I think I think over the course of 3 rounds, like towards the end, he's probably going to be hanging in there. I don't see him getting absolutely destroyed early on. Maybe he does, but, some of these guys coming in on short notice, we've seen him just starch the other guy because, they're really hyped. They want to win. They want to stay in the UFC. This is their opportunity, whether it's on, a 2-day notice or whatever. So for Andre, I would go in there, kind of fight how he fights. Don't get into the craziness of Michel Pieta and hang in there. Try to go for just be solid. Don't gas out right away, but who knows, right? Because all of this stuff. But patience, has pretty solid head movement, so I would definitely just fight defensively, really. Just don't get crazy. Don't gas out right away. Don't throw everything right in the first round, and I would just try to maintain and just try to light up Pieta. Pieta, maybe he goes for some flashy stuff because he's like, I'm gonna take this guy out real quick, and he makes a big mistake, gets caught, put to sleep. I could very well see that happening, especially if Andre is, not engaging with the craziness. So anything can happen, but obviously, I think I just have to go with Michel Pieta on this one, just because. He's a big ass dude, and I'm hoping that he's taking this fight seriously. I'm hoping that he was training for anyone and whatnot. And whether or not he gets a submission victory or a knockout here, I don't know. Andre Fialho may be very tough in this fight, so we have to be careful on that one. But I'm going to go Michel Pieta to defeat Andre Fialho. I'll take him to win by a really, I think it's not going to be an easy fight, so I'm taking a win by a decision. Move on into the co-main event of the evening. We have Brandon the Assassin Baby Moreno taking on Davison Deuce Daguerre Figueiredo. Just butchering everything. So anyways, so obviously the champion Brandon Moreno, 19-5-2, taking on Davison Figueiredo, 22-1. So their first fight was a draw. Second fight, I don't know. Figueiredo, he went from, like, in the first fight being really aggressive to the second fight not being aggressive enough, and kind of just, I don't know. It was just really weird. Maybe he respected him too much. Who knows, right? But even the first fight, if you look at it, Brandon Moreno, there are some points, especially as the fight went on, where he was hurting him really badly. Figueiredo was all over the place, looked like the more gassed fighter. Still landing some pretty good shots, but Moreno, I think, was landing the more damaging shots, and he was definitely starting to put things together, making it real scary for Figueiredo in that one, and that one went to a draw. So you have the second fight. Brandon Moreno coming out pretty fast, coming out really aggressive, getting in his face, using the jab really well, setting up some stuff. And I think he took him down and submitted him. It was pretty straightforward. It really wasn't anything crazy. And for Figueiredo, I don't know. I don't know why that happened so quickly, because it wasn't even like, the 5th round, they're bleeding and dying inside. So Moreno was just able to do that. I don't know. I think maybe he's the better fighter. Now, obviously, for Brandon Moreno, a lot of good grappling, a lot of good transitions. Obviously, the wrestling's there. He can snake you, backpack you, and just take you out. I don't think he necessarily is known for having power, but it is obviously there. I think he can, with his jab, he sets out some pretty good strikes. He can definitely rock Davison Figueiredo and do something with it. A lot of kicks as well, head kicks, stuff comes out of nowhere. And I think Moreno's cardio is like, both guys have cardio. Like, people say, oh, what do you mean he has cardio? Well, both guys have cardio. Everyone in the UFC obviously has cardio to an extent, I guess. I mean, we've seen guys where they last, 2 minutes. But cardio, as far as like, yeah, of course, both guys have cardio, but Moreno is just able to keep this like aggressive, I'm in your face, touching you up. I'm still here, even though I'm like, look like I'm dying. Um, I'm still gonna, I can just keep touching you and whatnot. Whereas Deiveson Figueiredo, yeah, he has good cardio, but he throws so much heavy strikes and puts everything into it that by the time we get there to the fourth and fifth round, he's not really there physically because he's so tired from just, you know, gassing out because he used all of his energy just to like try to knock whoever out, which is, obviously against a guy like Brandon Moreno, where he can spread his like he can spread his effort out across 5 rounds and turn it up when he needs to in each round, even in the fifth round. That's a little concerning because if Figueredo's kind of like gassed out, like, oh shit, man, threw too much. And I think that's kind of what he was trying to do his last approach by, right? He was trying to slow the fight down a little bit. But I don't know, maybe he just slowed it down too much and just really wasn't aware. And then next thing you know, Brandon Moreno just goes for the takedown and takes him down and then rear naked chokes him. And Figueredo was like, what the hell? I wasn't ready for that. I don't know. That wasn't a good look because it wasn't a war, really. It was kind of just Moreno took him down, set him up, and then Figueredo really, and he was kind of gassing out at that point too from, I don't know, maybe just throwing too many heavy strikes, and maybe the weight cut messes with him, and this is just the guy he can't beat. And obviously 125, maybe he goes up to 135 because he looks really cut in this weight, but at the same time, like, just because you look good doesn't mean that you can fight, and doesn't mean your body's not like starving itself. So yeah, I don't know about that. That could be a little bit concerning for me. Obviously big power from Figueredo. Obviously has a grappling game as well. Diverse attacks, really good aggression. Like I said, though, his pace slows from his heavy output and just like the amount of energy he puts into every punch. He tries to just knock people out, knock them out, right? Um, yeah, first fight too aggressive for Figueredo. Second fight too conservative, and then Brandon Moreno was just able to take advantage of it. Depending on who scored that first fight, I mean, I guess they could have given it to Moreno, right? Because it was a draw. So let's say Moreno's up one, and then he wins the second time even more convincingly. I think he kind of does the same thing here, except I'm more inclined to see if he can go for a finish on the feet. Not a submission, but definitely knock him out. Moreno, I think he's going to touch him up. I think he's going to mix in something. And it's intimidating, too, because let's say Figueredo now, he's just like, I'm going to come out aggressive. I look better. I know what to do now. I'm going to be aggressive and take his head off. But that could play into Moreno's game but I don't know, right? Maybe he gets caught off guard. But I just don't see that happening. I see Moreno probably maybe early on getting touched up a little bit, but then kind of just taking this fight over and kind of doing the same thing, right? Throughout the 5 rounds, kind of just starts dominating this fight. So that being said, I'm going to go with Brandon Moreno to defeat in the third fight against Deiveson Figueiredo. I'm taking a win by KO TKO in round number 4. Let's move on into the main event of the evening, and probably one of the more predictable fights, at least for me to predict. Pretty much just because, just out of all the fights that are happening in like the past year, this is anytime Ciryl Gane's fighting, I just kind of like feel it. I just think like it's kind of easy to predict, at least. So Francis the Predator Ngannou taking on Ciryl Bond Gaiman Gane. Ngannou coming in with a 16-3 record, 10-0 for Ciryl Gane. Francis Ngannou is a beast, obviously. Both guys are a beast. Ngannou, we saw in his last fight against Stipe Miocic, very improved as far, with a little bit that we did see. Didn't try to rely on like just swinging wildly, for a heavyweight at least, like he did in some of his other fights, and just blitz forward and kind of look really sloppy. But his power's there, so he was able to connect, and then everyone forgets it. We saw improved takedown defense against Stipe Miocic, pretty good. He defended the double leg, didn't let him get under him, and then he was able to kind of switch to the side and start landing some good power shots on his head, and that kind of started it. And then he was landing some pretty good leg kicks. He even threw a head kick in there. So yeah, he's definitely trying to evolve his game. And he was more patient. He wasn't getting crazy. The one thing I will say though, even up to the finish, granted he did get the finish, so that's kind of what people remember. He did get a little wild in there, and Stipe was able to come back with a quick shot. Now, granted, it didn't like finish Ngannou, but Ngannou felt it, and you could see him wobble, and then he killed him. He just took his soul, sent him back to the shadow realm. But before he did get hit, right? So Ngannou, even in that moment, right, he rushed in and got tagged up before he got the finish. And I think Stipe, in a small cage like that. Ngannou, obviously hindsight. I don't even think I picked Ngannou. Hindsight, I should have just picked him. In a small cage like that is just perfect for him. Now, this one I don't think is going to be in a small cage, so this is where I think Ciryl Gane comes into play. He kind of just shuts guys down, man. He's annoying, and that just works for him. Defensively, he's annoying, right? He has that side stance. He switches back and forth, kind of like a kickboxer, karate type thing where he's trying to land some shots. And then he goes to the body, and even if he's not hurting you, right, he's still touching you up. He's still having the volume. He's for a heavyweight, right? He's still having the volume, landing some shots, and he's really selective. He's kind of like a sniper. You might not think what he's doing is doing anything, and then it's like it just adds up, right? So he's just kind of piecing you up. He's not trying to land one kill shot, but he will go for the kill shot. We saw in this last fight against Derek Lewis. He was able to kind of judge the timing on Lewis, kind of judge the distance, kind of judge what Lewis was trying to do. And, at one point he runs away from Lewis because Lewis is trying to like take his head off. And, outside of that, nothing crazy really happened. He was just able to finally just keep piecing him up, go to the body, go to the legs. And he was able to get that finish in round number 3, KO, TKO. So for Ciryl Gane, man, like, I know they have their history. I know whatever. And in the end of the day, Ciryl Gane could just one-shot KO him. Francis Ngannou could one-shot KO Ciryl Gane. I guess that could be a thing. I just personally do not think that Ciryl Gane fights like any of the heavyweights. And that just makes it really difficult to prepare for. And even if these guys train with each other, whatnot, I mean, okay, like we've seen that happen before. And, so the guy that's like, I'm gonna beat his ass because I beat his ass in training or whatever, and then next thing you know, like he gets his ass beat or something. So it's like, for who really knows? And obviously there's footage, but that doesn't really tell the whole fight, obviously. I think Ciryl Gane fights safe here. I don't think who knows, right? I guess both guys could be emotional. I don't know, and that could change the complete outcome of this fight. But I will go with Ciryl Gane just because I think he's going to make him frustrated. He's not going to get blitzed to where Ngannou. And I even think if Ngannou blitzes in like a crazy man, Ciryl Gane can take advantage of it. But yeah, I mean, it could be over. All you need to land is one shot at this level. Derek Lewis could land one shot on anyone and put him to sleep. That's just how shit works. So I like Ciryl Gane. I think he fights safe. I think he tries to pick apart Francis Ngannou, go to the legs, try to get Ngannou to overextend on some big shots, and then go to the body or hit him with his own big shots off of a counter. Now, whether or not he's able to get to the finish here, this could be a really boring fight. I mean, if he fights smart and Ngannou's a little bit too hesitant to run in because he doesn't want to get memed, and also Ngannou's dealing with a lot of the the UFC pay, and he wants this, and he wants, more pay. And, who doesn't want more pay, but it's just more drama for him too as well. So, maybe Ngannou fights a little safe. He doesn't want to get memed or anything like that. But you don't know, right? So, for Ngannou, just go in there and kill him. I mean, he's got to take his head off. But I just think Ciryl Gane's going to fight too smart for him. He knows, they both kind of know each other. So Gane's going to know Ngannou's strategy possibly, and then Ngannou might know his strategy, so it might actually be a really slow fight if both guys are hesitant to really do anything, and that won't be the most exciting thing. So, and we actually saw Francis Ngannou stay alive against Stipe Miocic when he was taking him down, beating his ass. He was able to stay alive, man. He was pretty tough. So I'm gonna actually go Ciryl Gane to defeat Francis Ngannou by decision. I think that's pretty good, just because sometimes we get these fights and they're not the most entertaining, but one guy's clearly winning the fight and the other guy's afraid to throw or whatnot. So I don't think Ciryl Gane's afraid to throw, because he doesn't rely on just like big KO shots, right? He's very capable of just comfortably winning a decision. We saw that against Alexander Volkov as well. So I'm going to go Ciryl Gane on this one to defeat Francis Ngannou and become the new UFC World Heavyweight Champion. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoy the fights, crazy switch arounds and all that stuff. But either way, you know, hope you guys enjoy the fights. Thank you for watching my videos. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.